Welcome to Bookham Saddlery's workshop. I'm Helen Dart, I'm the Master Saddler here. I'm also a qualified saddle fitter, and I also lecture for the Society of Master Saddlers for their confirmation of the horse and its movement. We're going to talk a little bit about saddles this afternoon and some of the common problems that happen. I find that I go out roughly every 6 months to quite a lot of our customers to look at their saddles and to check the saddles fit for them. This is always a good idea to have your saddles regularly checked, and 6 months is about the time that they should be done. Flocking can settle, and we have a pile of pure wool flock sitting here ready to go in to the saddle I'm going to do in a moment. Also, when I go out and check saddles, I do a lot of paperwork, because we take templates of the horses so that we can see if they've changed shape. Perhaps you're working them a little bit harder, they've got fitter, and you can see with this particular horse, when I fitted the saddle 6 months ago, the red line, how he was perhaps a little bit in softer condition, and he's now changed and we now have him on the blue line. So we're going to this afternoon flock up the saddle a little bit more so it now will fit him more perfectly. I tend to bring the saddles back to the workshop to do the flocking because I like to be able to drop the panel out of the saddle to do so. I then will go back to the horse and just fine-tune the saddle on it on site, and then see the rider on it also, and perhaps fine-tune it again. A lot of saddlers will also go out now and have the facilities of a bench in their van, and this again is quite useful because then they can then make minor adjustments while they're with you. So we have a nice saddle this afternoon. If we have a look at the panel first of all, we can see here that it has a nice, smooth, even panel, a nice good bearing surface on it, a nice little bit of depth in the panel. But as you start to feel it, you can actually see that there are quite a few hollows here where it'll sit on your horse. Also, quite often we get creases across here. If we just lift the panel like that, you can actually see how the creases will form. And if you don't keep the leather here soft and nice and supple with plenty of saddle soap, cracks can appear and then the panel will start to disintegrate. So this is something we want to avoid. We want everything nice and smooth on your horse's back with a fantastic bearing surface to take the weight of the rider. So nice and level this saddle, nice wide gullet down the middle, so it's going to sit well on either side of the horse's spinal processes, and it's a nice shape for this saddle, for this horse. So the first thing we're going to do, although this has got quite nice flocking holes already left here by the manufacturer, you can see one there, and there'll be another one here at the back. I just open it out, you can just have a look just there. So you could quite easily be able to get into this saddle, but we're actually going to drop the panel out so we can have a look at it.
Helen, you mentioned that there are problems that you see with horses when saddles aren't fitted every 6 months or very regularly. What are the sort of things that you have seen?
I think quite often people buy a saddle and time rattles away, and suddenly it's 2 years down the line and perhaps the saddle hasn't been checked and all the flocking has gone either very hard or very lumpy, and the horse perhaps is become more asymmetrical, and the saddle should have been looked at previously. And it's much better to keep on top of these things before you end up having a back problem.
And have you seen horses stopping, jumping because of saddles that aren't fitted correctly?
Yes. If the saddle is not fitted correctly and the rider is not in balance, obviously all these things can contribute to things. There are a lot of things going on with saddles. Not only is it how the saddle fits the horse, but also you have to take into account the girthing system, the pads people want to use underneath them, the horse's own conformation, and then of course your rider conformation. And being a qualified saddle fitter, this is something that is covered within the Master Saddler's syllabus. So we always try and recommend a qualified saddle fitter because they have this depth of knowledge. Also, the other thing that we are specifically trained in is that we know what tree shape will best suit your horse. And the tree is this part of the saddle that the rest of it is all built on. So it's the bare bones of the saddle. We have 2 points here, and as you can see on this saddle, the flexible point is broken. So at some point this needs repairing. If we take off the leather forepiece, you'll be able to see the wooden tree structure underneath. And again, it's very important that the horse has the correct shape of tree and the correct angle of the points to allow the horse to move to its maximum effect. The whole idea of a well-fitting saddle is to help you, the rider, and keep the horse comfortable, and to make the horse be able to move to its maximum ability, keeping you in a balanced place so that both of you can perform to your maximum, well, to your maximum, really.
Have you found that being a dressage judge, has that helped you when you're looking at horses and how they're moving as well?
Yes, because I think so often you do see poorly fitting saddles, and you sit there thinking, gosh, you know, if only her saddle was a little bit more perhaps lifted at the front or a little bit more in balance, how it would actually help the horse carry her in a more effective place. So yes, I mean you can see this, you see this the whole time.
So Helen, you're taking lots of what looks like cotton wool and putting that into the saddle.
Yep, this is actually pure wool. The beauty with pure wool against a nylon mix, if you make just a ball of it and scrunch it up tight, it will actually just spring back. And the beauty of this is that it's soft. When you flock a saddle, it should be like a nice cushion, a lovely comfortable cushion on your horse's back. It shouldn't be rock hard. An example here of a saddle with a felt panel, you can actually see that it's hard, and that wouldn't be quite so nice on your horse's back. And a bit of an indentation there where the felt is a little bit collapsed. So this one's going to have the felt all renewed because it's a pony saddle with a very wide, round pony. So he doesn't want a lot of depth in the panel there. So, you know, these are sort of one or two of the problems we find. And I'm drying up. Can we stop there, please?
Yes.